Hello and welcome back to my walkthrough to Final Fantasy 15. In the last episode, well, I believe in the last episode I recorded, we were on the Chocobo Moogle Carnival, and now we are here looking at the second part of this extended look at some of the free DLC that's available for this game, and that comes with the Assassin's Festival, which has been recently recently launched. Now, I do need to confess that essentially I have done this twice now. So if I check the special, so it will be here on special, as you can see, the Assassin's Festival. This is free DLC that's been available with the advent of 1.15. You can download it off your relevant PlayStation Store, Xbox Live, I'm sure, for free. It is completely free. There's a key item that comes over. If you download it, you can... I believe the Dream Egg that you get from the Chocobo Moogle Carnival, watching that final cutscene, that Dream Egg then hatches and will give you some Assassin's robes. Essentially, the idea is that this is like a crossover between Final Fantasy and Assassin's Creed, very much in sort of like building up for the new Assassin's Creed that's coming out relatively soon. I'm not entirely sure when that date is. And yeah, no, because it's free, and this one actually has a small sort of story side to it. Essentially, we're going to do an episode now, which is going to be based on the story, and then we'll do a second episode, which will be similar to the Moogle Carnival one, which just goes around doing all the mini-games, showing you what you need to get in order to get sort of 100% and grab all of the items from that given quest from the Carnival. Because, as you can see, some of the items, similar to the Moogle Carnival, will be carried over from the festival to your main save. So, now the situation you can see here is essentially, I did my true playthrough on my current save file, which is this one, the Party of 3 one. I already did a lot of recording based for this episode on this file, the Chapter 1 file, which we did the Moogle Carnival for. But unfortunately, the tiny first section up to sort of like the first cutscene, or the first sort of break of play, break from control, was unfortunately lost, and so I need to re-record that, and that is what this is. But then hopefully I'll be able to have a smooth transition, and you won't notice anything different when we go into the second bit, which is the rest. So the rest of this is already recorded, hopefully. But anyway, we're going to start here on to this save file, and we'll be able to see what's going on here with the Assassin's Festival. So here we have it. In Lestalem, a tale is told, a story of the looming shadow of oppression and a hero who rose in resistance. Though no historical account exists, the legend nevertheless survives, telling of a nameless hero known as the Assassin. So it's interesting, essentially, there's this effort to some extent of trying to incorporate an assassin, or the idea of an assassin, into the lore of at least Lestalem here in Final Fantasy 15. There's also mention, as we'll see later on, of the fact that Nocto and Promptus both like the Assassin's Creed games. And so, you know, if you try and take it, I think if you take it too seriously, you know, try and read too much into it, it will almost sort of sour it for you, because you won't sort of... I think you've got to sort of go in feeling like it's just going to be a bit gimmicky and a bit sort of just for fun. And it is free, of course, so that helps with that. I think definitely if you were paying for it, it would be certainly a very different experience, at least. As it is, it's sort of like a nice sort of detour. You have some interesting new mechanics, and yeah, it's certainly got its own charm to it, I guess. But certainly, I know a lot of people will be thinking that Final Fantasy just needs to get back to doing Final Fantasy, and that is a fair discussion, a fair point to make. But thankfully, not only obviously with these, but we also have the big 3 story DLC in Ignis, Prompto, and Gladio, with Ignis coming out pretty soon.
Gotcha.
So here we have our first sort of reference, the leap of faith, which is obviously, you know, a common theme within the Assassin's Creed games.
Yep.
We also see Loki, a character who we fought in the sky, I believe. Sort of, and he presents himself as sort of like the figurehead for the Empire and sort of like the main antagonist for this DLC storyline.
There he is. Time to take him down.
So you can see that we're currently in a set of Assassin's robes. These are the Medjay Assassin robes, and these become available to us through the course of playing this DLC. As in, you can wear them inside your normal save file as well, which is pretty cool. And as I mentioned before, if you have the Dream Egg from watching the final cutscene of the Chocobo Moogle Carnival DLC, then you'll also get a Master Assassin's robes, which look more like the white robes of Altair and stuff like that.
These guys are everywhere. Not over here. Come on.
So if you're wondering the reason why we're not like just smashing these guys, because obviously they're only like level 6, and we're certainly higher than that. There is a reason for that, and that will become clear as we play through. Essentially, all you want to do is you just you obviously have that sort of that circle of influence on the map. You need to stay within that, but you also don't want to get too close, or they will actually notice your presence.
I bet they wouldn't see you up there.
So there we have the two sort of main things. You have these warp panels, which, these warp points which you can warp to up onto the roofs, and then you have these sort of blue arrows which indicate a location where you can essentially trigger this little cutscene in which you'll actually walk over, up and over a given obstacle, and you can do some climbing essentially. But that is the limit to the free roam abilities. You might think, you might want to think, oh, let's be complete free roam over the whole of Lestallum. You don't have that. Instead, you just have pretty strict and limited paths over these over the roofs via the these warp points and stuff like that. So essentially, that is just a little sort of intro sequence. We will play through that sequence again later on. You just need to be a bit patient with it. I think it's easy with these sort of games to just want to rush in, but if you just sort of keep patient, stay on the ground, stuff like that, it's easier. And now we get the opening cutscene, which will show us how we came about to this point.
I'm so hyped. I can't believe it's finally here.
Need I remind you there's an Imperial bounty on your head? Keep it in check.
Fine.
Come on, let him have some fun. It ain't easy being a wanted man.
Ooh, look at all these posters!
It's happening, isn't it? It's really happening.
What's got these two so excited all of a sudden?
The two of them happen to be rather fond of the Assassin's Creed series.
You would be too if you played it.
Man, is this incredible or what?
It's definitely different than usual.
Look at all these people.
And all of these cars.
So here we are in Lestallum, and essentially, the majority of the attractions sort of go throughout Lestallum, but
Knocked.
essentially I'm pretty sure we can't actually head down towards, we'll just follow the storyline thread, so we'll follow the main objectives pretty much.
Dude, check it out.
OMG! Look at him go!
What kind of crazy stunt is that?
The Leap of Faith, one of the Assassin's most astounding acrobatic feats.
So So obviously, if you've ever played an Assassin's Creed game, you know what the Leap of Faith is. There's a lot of, minor references to a lot of sort of things that try to evoke a lot of what Assassin's Creed has. Obviously, it is in very limited fashion, and I don't think we should have expected anything more, given that this is again free DLC. But just because it's free doesn't mean that you don't, have to look. You can judge it for what it is. So no, we're gonna meet with Cindy.
Howdy, y'all.
Hey, Cindy.
Say, I didn't realize you knew my favorite hunters. They also happen to be my favorite customers.
And I take it you two are friends.
Me and Holly, we're bosom buddies.
So, can you tell me what this Assassin's Festival thing is all about?
Well, it all started a long time ago when this guy, who eventually became the Assassin of Legend...
I was asking her.
Simmer down now. I'd be happy to tell you all about it. We're also lending out costumes to the festival goers. Whether you wear them is up to you, but they're perfect for the occasion.
Can we wear them, Noct? Can we?
They would certainly serve as an ideal disguise, given the current state of the town.
So we're going to get a selection here. Essentially, you can either rent robes with my friends, which means that you'll all wear the same outfit, or if you have specifically got the Dream Egg, which you get for viewing the final fireworks scene in the Moogle Chocobo Carnival, you might have noticed that that egg will then hatch to give us some assassin robes as well. Namely Altair's, I think, from the original Assassin's Creed game, or similarly.
Actually, it just so happens I have my own costume right here.
Go figure.
What about us? Friends don't let friends cosplay alone.
So essentially, we'll see that Noctis will be, and I prefer the white one to the ones that they sort of introduced. But yeah, so essentially we have this, the white assassin, this sort of rather more iconic assassin's look.
Wow, these look just like the real thing.
Is the real thing this revealing?
Is somebody shy?
No, it's simply a new sensation.
So as we can see, we get a set of Medjay assassin's robes. I believe this sort of stuff is relevant to the most of the upcoming Assassin's Creed games.
You boys sure wear those costumes well.
I know.
Y'all are showing me a whole nother side of yourselves.
Not by choice. The outfits are revealing by design.
They're designed to help you get in the spirit. Now go out there and have fun.
Well, we'll see you guys later. The ladies and I have got some catching up to do.
And what are we supposed to do?
Check out the festival, come on!
Okay.
We'll reconvene tonight at the Leville.
Sounds
You just
good.
see Gladio trying to walk off into the distance, but he can't. So yeah, so essentially this is very similar to the Chocobo Moogle Carnival, in that essentially you earn medallions for doing certain feats. You then pay for things using the medallions that you've earned. Medallions are also scattered about, and you can do various sort of small activities to earn more medallions, stuff like that. As you see there, Holly. So Holly is a character that we'll meet very soon, actually, in our playthrough. She comes up right at the end of Chapter 8, which is where we I can't remember if it's Chapter 7 or Chapter 8, but the current chapter we're on, we'll meet her very soon, so that's where she comes from. And she acts as essentially a source of information, and also allows us to change outfits if we want to see Noctis in the other outfit. So as you see here, in a time past, the people of Lestalem suffered cruel tyranny at the hands of a merciless few for what seemed an eternity. Yet as if in an answer to the people's prayers, there came a day from which the oppressors began to disappear, one after another, until at last only peace remained. Knowing nothing of their hero, the people simply called him the Assassin, and committed his legacy to legend, which claimed that should terror ever befall the city again, the fabled saviour would rise once more. This celebration honours the nameless and faceless liberator of Lestalem. So we see that, just as some information, we can chat to
See all
Cindy.
them taking that leap of faith? I could never.
I could do that in my sleep.
I think we can see.
Yeah, you kids run along and play.
Gladio's rather amusing throughout this. He sort of just does his own thing, which usually requires just like chatting up women and stuff like that, which I always find rather amusing. So, as you can see, we can start earning some medallions now, but largely it's kind of like not all of the events are actually open to us yet, so we won't. The one thing I do want to do is I just want to see if we can trigger a second event with Gladio, because I find them rather amusing. So what we'll do is we'll come over here
Photo for the road.
and talk to this person
How
who...
about a photo for the road?
So if we try to take a souvenir shot, we'll then get a choice as to who we can take the picture with.
Might as well snap a shot while we're here. What do you say?
And we'll get a selection of Gladio, Prompto, Ignis. I believe if you choose any of these three, they'll essentially just do it. You know, you'll just get the shot. But if you pick Cindy, there's a unique sort of little sequence of events that we can
get a
see.
picture with Cindy. Wouldn't want to pass up the chance.
I like the way you think. I'll go call her over. And would you mind taking a picture of me and the lovely lady afterwards?
So if we head over now to where Cindy will be, as we can start picking up some medallions.
I'll be the assassin, and you'll be my target.
You can see the kids sort of playing.
Go for one of
So
everything.
here are the prizes. We'll talk about the prizes quite briefly. So essentially, we've got Viva La Vista Festival Edition, which is a photography magazine. Buying this will give us a new filter. You get a frame that you can put your photos in when you share them for 90. There's an assassin mascot, which is another thing that you can put, a decal you can use for your car. Everything else you can get in-game through other measures.
Hey, Noct. I don't know if you saw it, but there's this photo magazine at the prize counter.
Yeah, I saw it. And?
And I need it. Can I borrow some medals, please?
So you have that, and then on the other side, what we actually have is, they call it Assassin's Luck. It's this mini game where essentially you just put some money in and you get an item out. It is really basic, like there's nothing to it. You just put in some medallions and get some money out. But there is a special thing on, if you choose special, there is a rare, or there is a unique car sticker, I think, that you can also get.
Well, let's see what all the hype is about.
So you see, what happens there is Prompto mentions Galad. Galad is an area similar. I think it's also been taken over by the Nifs. It's essentially, if you've ever seen the Kingsglaive movie, you'll know that a few of the characters in that movie are actually from Galad. I don't really want to go into too many spoiler territory, but I just wanted to say that I think that's the first time that Galad's been actually referenced in the game, as it were. So the reason that we wanted to head over here is to actually try and grab Cindy. Wow. So let's just, if we just talk to Gladio.
Can't you see I'm busy here? I'll be here when you get back.
And if we talk to Cindy,
You're funnier than cactuars in a barrel.
No, he's not.
Yeah, I'm way funnier.
Prompto getting jealous of Gladio, and then also we can ask for a picture.
Hey, Prince. Something the matter?
Got a minute?
Sure do.
Well, you see... never mind, it's nothing.
Alrighty then. If you say so.
Dude, what about our picture with Cindy?
If you want to take a picture with her so bad, then why don't you ask her?
I can't just go over and ask our goddess for a picture. That would be blasphemy.
Fine. Then let's you and me take a picture together. It's better than nothing.
So now we get to choose another one, and if we just choose Prompto, we can have, you can choose any of them and they will actually do the picture, I'm pretty sure.
Be the assassin?
And then you can choose as to whether you want to be the assassin or the Templar.
I think I fit the part a little more.
You just keep on telling yourself that.
So you can drag Gladio away from his conversation with Cindy otherwise. But yeah, so that's all we wanted to do there. What we can now do is just head through town, and you get to sort of see more of what's going on within the whole city. and then we'll head over to the Laville and actually start the rest of the quest, essentially. The shops here, essentially,
Think Fallstar.
they just still sell the same ingredients and stuff like that. Some healing items. I don't think you can get some...
We're not open for business yet, I'm afraid. Come back later.
I don't think you can get the weapons and stuff, the weaponsmith and stuff like that. As a quest that we'll be able to access later on.
Whoa! What do you think they're doing?
Some kind of contest?
All the way up there. It looks a little risky, don't you think?
Nah, I'd be there and back in a flash.
I'd fancy a walk up there.
You seriously want to do that?
Can't spell funambulism without fun.
How do you even know that word?
So it brings up funambulism being tightrope walking, I believe.
I agree, but let's...
So now what we can do is, so we're just going to go straight to the Laville. Again, lots of the attractions actually aren't available yet, so such as that guy there. The Chocobo races aren't available. There's a few other things.
Where'd all the people go?
To the heart of town, where all the action is.
So what we can now do is if we just quickly head to the Laville. And we can stay here.
Oh, greetings. Will you be staying with us?
And doing so essentially allows us to finish off
Right
this,
here.
you know, this first little mission, I guess, of the chapter. And then we'll be able to see how the story sort of progresses from here. And as we can see, so that he's just doing this because it's like the first time that we've actually stayed over. But actually, as you can see, you do actually get some photos, which is quite nice as well. And you can come back and stay at the Laville whenever you want to sort of save those photos as well.
Bad news, Noct. The Empire's here.
Seriously? What for?
Well, they're fixing to find you, Your Highness.
Why can't they wait until after the festival?
Wish I knew. Holly said they're trying to set up a secret weapon at the plant, but she ain't having none of it.
She doesn't stand a chance against the Imperial army all by herself.
Where are the others?
Off looking at cars.
Leave them. You and me, let's go help Holly.
Keep her safe for me, you hear?
So here we have it, a disturbance in the festival, and this is sort of like going to start introducing a lot of the main sort of ideas.
Can't say they wouldn't. Let's not give them a chance to. Come on.
So we need to get there without starting trouble. We will not immediately arouse suspicion while in costume, but enemies will grow wary if he runs or jumps in front of them. We get a bunch of elixirs to help us out. We can talk to Cindy
Keep an eye
again.
on Holly for me.
That music in that cutscene sort of reminded me a lot of stuff from 13-2. So anyway, what we want to do actually
They
is...
assassinated our plans of having fun at the festival.
And mark my words, I'm gonna make sure they pay for it.
So the reason we're up here is because we want to sort of avoid as much any interactions with the Empire. So we'll find that there are a bunch of Magitek soldiers around, as you can see down there. We want to obviously avoid them. So we're just moving around, or trying to move around stealthily.
Anything from Ignis?
Yeah, they've got the Regalia surrounded.
Give me a break. First we get Holly, then the car.
Right. I'll tell Iggy we'll meet up with them later.
Unfortunately, I missed that those medallions there, but there we go. So this is a little scripted event just to show you essentially one of the other mechanics, which is essentially there are various hiding areas within the game, which are stuff like garbage cans, doorways, stuff like this. And you can use them to obviously stay concealed from troops. And coming up to here will give us the situation. Another version of that is the hay bales.
You better think again. You can't come in here and manhandle our power supply. It takes a woman's touch.
Which is why we require your assistance.
As if I would agree.
Your position does not afford you the right to protest.
Well, if you insist, have your men return my keycards. Can't monitor the inner workings of the plant from the outside.
You will be permitted access as necessary. Follow my orders and all will be well. We provide you with peace, and yet still you rebel. It is high time you learn to show some gratitude. And to know your place as our lowly subjects. Take her away.
Let's go after her.
No, we'd just be putting her in more danger.
And what are we supposed to do?
I never said I had a better idea. But I did hear her say Loki's men stole her keycards. And we could start by stealing them back.
Okay, then let's split up and take him down.
So there we go. We now have a secondary sort of motive now, which is essentially to try and locate these keycards, and doing so will essentially require us to attack some, you know, these assassins.
Nothing's working on these guys.
So you can see,
Time to turn tail.
so we can see we actually have a new sort of status ailment, I guess. That's essentially hindering Noctis's ability to summon all of his weapons and stuff like that. So, you'll see that we've got spotted above the top. What that means is that even if we hide somewhere, they'll know where we are. If we hide from an enemy, you'll see that blue hologram will appear. And what that means is the enemies will then attack the hologram as opposed to attack you. However, the process can be pretty, or the whole sort of sequence here can be a little jarring, I guess. It's not entirely helpful a lot of the time. But essentially, you've got to remain hidden for the entirety of the countdown. If you succeed, you'll then manage to evade the Empire. They'll stop looking for you, essentially, the truthers, and then you can continue onwards.
Should be safe here.
Obviously, that little section is completely scripted because this area is actually closed off to the point where
I think so.
those
I'm
troopers
worried about the
can't
others.
actually get you
Let's head
in
back.
here. So you'll always be hidden as soon as you get there. The whole hiding and remaining hidden encounter can be very frustrating, I found. They'll often spot you, and even if you're hidden, as in inside a hiding place, they'll often find you even if they haven't spotted you already. And that can be just because they'll search, like, often those troopers will just search nearby areas. So if you do get spotted, it can be very frustrating.
Blocked off the main entrance.
In that case, we just find a new one.
So the new one we find is essentially we point warp up to the top, and then we can climb over the balcony, and this will give us an interaction with the guys.
It was like my attacks just stopped working all of a sudden.
Well, it sounds like they employed some sort of jamming device. One that prevents you unleashing your power to its full potential.
Great.
Our only option is to infiltrate the power plant and interrupt the Empire's interference.
Without the power of kings on our side?
But who needs the power of kings when you have the power of assassins?
I get to be an assassin? Well, I've no other choice.
Then it's settled. Our first order of business should be to gather a bit more intel. Noct, you and Prompto should scout out Loki's subordinates from the tower in front of the main thoroughfare.
Got it.
Is there anything I can do?
Nothing. I can't put you in harm's way.
But my friend's in harm's way right now. I want to do whatever I can to help.
Sounds like you won't take no for an answer anyway. If anything comes up, we'll let you know.
Indeed.
It's a pity that they couldn't give like Holly and Cindy assassins outfits, like just it's like, you know, seems almost a bit lazy that they don't have that they didn't do that. So yeah, so a few new things there. Obviously, some new.
Make sure she's okay.
Some new.
I'll bring her back safe and sound.
All by yourself?
So yeah, so there's a few little things there.
Take care.
So some new attractions, but not every attraction has been unlocked. However, that doesn't mean that we shouldn't like use them, especially this particular quest here.
Finally, a real assassin.
Finally. Look around you. I'm hardly the only one.
But I have no business with those masquerading imposters. Even if you deny it, I can see you for what you really are.
Okay, so what business do you have with the real me?
I need you to take out some troopers. As for how you do it, everything is permitted.
Seems pretty dangerous if you ask me. Why should I?
Nothing is true, so I have no answer, but there's a reward.
Well, I wouldn't mind having more medallions. If you can manage that, I'll take on the job.
A strange request, but if that is what you desire, then so be it.
Okay, so we start off a series of quests called Shady Dealings,
And with
which
that,
also
the contract is made.
triggers a lot of minor ones. Essentially, only what it's saying there is that there are certain ones that will actually, there are certain troopers that I think will guaranteed drop a
There's something funny
core,
about that guy.
but not all of
You
them
think?
will.
I mean, who goes around saying nothing is true and everything is permitted?
Maybe real assassins do? I mean, you just said it too.
But actions speak louder than words. Guess it's time to prove if I'm really an assassin then.
So yeah, so essentially, there's an idea of that. Well, that's the assassination sort of process. You can sort of just sneak up on
pretty dead
enemies,
over
and that
here.
will work
Then let's go somewhere a
very
little
efficiently. Equivalently, you can hide in certain locations, and you can then. So there we go. We get our first broken Magitek core. Essentially, he wants you to bring increasing numbers. It starts at 1, then 3, then 5, then 10, then 20, and then 99. It is not worth getting all 99 to complete the, to finally finish the quest. It really isn't. All it does is give you more medallions, and frankly, there are faster ways of earning medallions. So, I really wouldn't worry too much about it. But certainly you want to get the first few, and you want to try and actually finish off the quests that he gives you. The quests that he does give you are essentially just killing various troopers in a variety of exotic ways. Namely from a hay bale, from a garbage can, from an aerial attack, or from a doorway. Do those 4, and then the reason you want to do those is they actually give you certain little trophies, and those trophies are then transferable to your true game. We also want to start this quest because it's really helpful to do so.
This game. The rules are simple. Just find the flags scattered around town and bring them back here. You up to the challenge?
Sounds like fun.
If you manage to return them all to me, I promise I won't let you go empty-handed.
So you get a lot of the bonus that you get there is just more medallions. You get a lot of medallions. If you hand in all 15 at once, you'll get a total of 75 medallions, I think, in one go. And obviously, remember, similar to the Chocomog medallions, you only have the capacity for 99 at a time. So just keep that in mind. The final quest that we do actually want to trigger right now is actually featuring another character that we've already seen.
What's the Empire doing here? Who invited them?
Beats me. Kick him out?
So essentially, there are a few, ideas here. So what it's suggesting here is essentially to get into the... This is just an introduction to this particular mechanic, which is essentially luring enemies over with a whistle, and then when they get close enough, you can assassinate them. There's a little symbol that appears essentially when you assassinate an enemy, or when you can assassinate an enemy.
Let him die. It's kind of sad, you know.
What's so sad about a bunch of robots getting their circuits fried?
Robots. Right.
What?
Nothing. Just saying you're right.
So obviously that's
I mean, not literally.
that is an allusion to Prompto, to just some certain other things that we find out about Prompto later on. The problem is, it's sort of like the timeline's very mixed up, because you can never be sure as to when this particular sort of set of events is actually like timed or timetabled relative to everything else.
That's a nice camera you got there. How's about you put that little baby to the test? I got a couple of targets around town. Do your assassin thing and sneak up and snap a shot of them if you can.
So essentially, Vive here obviously will give us a bunch of new quests, which essentially simply require taking photos of various sort of small,
Guess this is it.
Then let's get the shot and get up.
small things around town. The first one is actually really easy, it's just this cactuar here. And if you, again, you want to be clear that as soon as you take the photo, you want to just let go of the controller, don't hit anything, and hopefully your thing will trigger. So there are 10 of them. We will be doing, the reason we want to activate this and the flags.
And Viv is definitely one of those guys.
Yep, just as sweaty as ever.
So this one and the flags one are definitely ones you want to sort of trigger early, because throughout the course of sort of the story of this game, or the story mode, we will be finding
So this is how the world looks through
both the flags and the photos subjects. So we'll synchronize, which is another, obviously, another Assassin's Creed mechanic that they sort of brought across, this idea that you can, from a high vantage point, you can then sort of synchronize with your surroundings and find various locations.
If I'm gonna take that leap, it better not be this way.
But I think, can we? Doesn't look like we can take a photo up here. I know we can. Okay. If we look down there, is there anything? No. It may well, what I'm looking for may well only appear once we finish the story, so. The photos is less important, but is nice sort of source of medallions early on.
I have joined them.
Congratulations. So, are we done here?
We are assassins.
Okay, great. Can we go now?
I've got an idea where they're posted.
Awesome. I'll text Iggy and everyone else the coordinates.
And for now, we go after Loki's men ourselves.
So essentially, because of the cause,
Requiescat
in Pace, obviously that comes from Assassin's Creed 2. But yeah, no, you'll notice, because we want the cause, you want to collect as many of them as you can. Essentially, we want to kill as many of these soldiers as we can in the day, over the course of the day. So for example, this one, I think the idea is that you hide, you whistle to get his attention, and then you'll see the little symbol. As soon as it's red, you can then assassinate to get the keycard. And then there are 6 of them.
Yeah.
So there we go, we can bring this guy over and get our second version of the assassination.
Don't stand so close to me.
I smell fine.
Because obviously you're in a garbage can, that's why they make that joke. So yeah, so the various Magitek soldiers are across the town. I will just be assassinating them throughout, just for just to try and get as many cores as we can as fast as we can. I like how they just completely ignore Prompto. Like, Prompto just means absolutely nothing to them.
What does it look like inside?
Like an apartment?
Oh, sounds like this isn't your first time breaking and entering.
So anyway, our next guy is there. He's actually a prime candidate for an aerial assassination. So what we'll do is we'll climb up here, make the traversal across, and then the traversal up. And then you look down, find him. Okay, so we'll just check our map just to see where the remaining ones are. We'll get that one down there. So yeah, there are just six of these Magitek soldiers. Two of them you talk, one with Gladio, one with Ignis. So they do have their sort of roles to play, I guess. It's another one where it's easiest, I think, from the bin.
The Prince
So we
of
get-
Garbage.
Can it?
And once more, we can grab this guy. And once more, we get another broken Magitek core, which is exactly what we're looking for.
There's someplace I was hoping to take you.
PDA, everywhere you look.
Only in Lestalem, I guess.
I just met this guy.
So obviously they're talking about these two.
Eagle tattoo. You should have seen it.
And she is talking about Gladio, I believe. The guy with the eagle tattoo. So Gladio's obviously found another Lestalem lady to use his charms against. So that threat meter is there. If you move fast away enough, it will just disappear and you won't need to worry about it, thankfully. And then we can just assassinate that guy.
I should have bought him.
So there's another one here, there's another one up there, and there's one there. So if we head, I believe this last guy doesn't actually appear until... Yeah, he doesn't appear until we actually trigger the event down here, which is with Ignis. You can see there's a lot of like signs and stuff around here. Most of the ones in the market are just people like saying, sorry, you know, we're closed for the festival.
Our target should be posted somewhere in the very back of the marketplace. The soldiers patrolling the area, however, will make procuring the keycards somewhat difficult.
But you have a plan, right?
Of sorts. I'll watch from the rooftop and inform you of their movements.
Sounds good.
Just be careful not to get caught along the way.
I know.
On your right, Noct. Now.
Oh, he's still there, that guy. Okay. Just gonna kill this guy. Lovely camera angle. So yeah, if you read there, yeah, there you go. Shop is temporarily closed. Enjoy the festival.
Up ahead. Look out! Get back! Hide. To the left.
Ah, I didn't get to assassinate that guy for some reason. These guys have terrible lines of sight. It's like stuff like that that sort of, you know, I guess slightly sours the experience, sort of the fact that, you know, a lot of these guys are really easy to just avoid. And then all we need to do is head to the end. And this guy is essentially a prime target for, so that's what the Assassin's flags look like, and there are 15 of those. They essentially take the part of the Choco Chicks that were in the Moogle festival. And then we can easily assassinate from up there. And we get another broken Magitek core, which is excellent. And then this area is essentially the equivalent of Margot's. That's the one equivalent to Margot's. Don't know why he's saying that, because we've already done it, so see you, Iggy. So we now just need to head into the center and take out the last two guys. One with the help of Gladio, one without. Oh, and one with the help of Prompto, actually, I think Prompto has an idea for the, this one.
I'm gonna lead all the people away from here. You'll slip into the crowd and sneak up on the soldier.
So essentially, if there's enough people around, essentially what it means is that if you just walk slowly, they will never spot you. And then you can just approach, get as close as you like, and take them out. But I mean, this guy never moves, so he's also really easy to kill. And then this last guy. You can just easily circle behind him and take him out. There's another guy around the corner, but we can't access it. Oh no, we can actually, sorry. It's just around here.
We've gotta help Ollie.
So again, you can see that certain ones, like random white ones, hold to the cores, and I think all of the black ones do hold a core as well. So we already have 11, which is great. I'm really only aiming for maybe... yeah, really only aiming for, what's it, 1 plus 3 plus 5 plus 10, maybe, over the course of the playthrough, so... That's what, 19? There's another flag there. We can climb up here and take out this guy. There's another guy over there. You can actually see me through walls. Does that bring him round? I can't tell from the red dot on the map which represents them, so...
What does it look like inside?
Like an apartment?
Oh, sounds like this isn't your first time breaking and entering.
You can see that guy is still sort of following us. Ah, unfortunately we didn't get the timing there.
Rest in peace.
But even if, I mean, as you can see, even if you run quite obviously behind them, they won't spot you. So there's really nothing difficult about it at all.
Oh, you're such an adrenaline junkie.
There's Gladio. We'll just quickly take out this guy. And then some more PDA.
You don't get it. The hood is a symbol. It's what makes the costume great. You're not an assassin without it.
Uh-huh.
some conversation about that sort of stuff, and then we can talk to Gladio.
Did you see that stylish blonde walking around town?
Did I? He's cute and has a nice camera.
I know. I'm so jealous. I wanted to ask where he got it, but just can't work up the nerve to talk to him.
Just talking about Prompto there, which is quite a nice little touch.
Should be able to steal a keycard from that guy, but not without him noticing.
So what now?
I'll grab his attention.
And what will I do?
Okay, Gladio and Noctif have merged to form Gladioctus.
Use that brain of yours. Go. Hey, over here.
Hey, just great.
So I think the idea here is that you sort of... you hide here. And then assassinate when he comes close.
What does it look like inside?
Like an apartment?
Oh, sounds like this isn't your first time breaking and entering.
So you get lots of like those sort of little comments from Prompto based on the various different stealth kills that you can perform. But there we go, we have the 6 keycards that we needed initially, and now...
So we got this on lock?
Not without the last keycard, and that one's with Loki.
Then we need to find him. Back to reconnaissance it is.
I'm on it. But what do we do once we've got the card?
I'm gonna shut down that contraption.
You? All by yourself?
It ain't my first time at the rodeo. I know my way around the plant and the gizmos inside. My best friend's in trouble. I can't just sit around twiddling my thumbs when I could be out there helping her.
Fine. But you're not going alone.
All right, let's hit it.
So there we have it, the captive card, and now we need to locate Loki. Essentially, this is exactly the same as the first mission.
Oh, poor Holly.
As in, all we need to do is all you need to do is make your way over to the massive tower and, you know, do a synchronize and then a leap of faith. And that's as simple as it gets. So you can see that a lot of the troopers don't respawn. I think they only respawn, it may well be like at the start of the day, or whether it's just to do with like when you load the save. But essentially it's a pain trying to find troopers once you've sort of completed this main storyline, which is why we've been killing so many.
Gotcha.
So as you can see, I like how the cutscene with the guys was in sunshine, and then it comes back and it's nighttime.
Yep.
So now we essentially have rejoined with the scene that began this all, which is just us trailing Loki, and once again we'll just do exactly the same as we did last time, which is remain pretty close,
take him down.
Take it relatively slowly, stay on the ground as much as possible to start with. Essentially, if you end up sort of point warping to places and taking the upper routes, quite often you won't be in you won't be close enough for them to actually sort of, and the game will sort of say that you're getting too far away from your target. So you can see the sort of the interaction sphere, or the circle around.
Not too slippery for us to catch.
I haven't forgotten the humiliating defeat I endured in Sky. In the name of House Tumult and the Niflheim Empire, I will have my revenge.
Oh, apparently we're following too far behind now. Come on. So we'll head this way, and then
everywhere.
Not over here. Come on.
And then we can head up here instead. Much like the start, we'll then see him walk across, see the Axemen follow. And then we can follow them.
I bet they wouldn't see you up there.
We can warp up to the top.
The poor prince should be
Okay, so there's now a dude up here, that's the only difference.
It would be a pity if he were to hurt himself, but accidents will happen. Taking his life now would, in turn, save countless lives in the future.
So we'll just let Loki get ahead of us. Previously, I think I actually went slightly too fast. In my first playthrough, I actually killed this guy really early and then had Loki sort of come from behind and just sort of managed to sort of be in a position where for some reason he couldn't spot me. But I wouldn't advise that. I'm pretty sure you're sort of meant to wait until these guys start moving forwards, and then we can assassinate this guy. And then just sort of make our slow progress.
I'll kill him myself. I will be the one to bring true peace to our world.
I can't let him get away.
And I can't let myself hold you back. Go on without me. Good luck.
So we need to warp up to here and then head round here. We can now follow Loki down this alley once more.
Who are you?
Your friendly neighborhood assassin.
Don't make me laugh. Now, kill him!
So a minor little quick time event for some reason, and then you just got to sort of essentially just run away from these guys.
You can't escape. You sure cannot. Hey!
And then we just got to essentially follow Loki.
This is an emergency. All civilians should evacuate immediately.
Try not to let your stamina bar run out like I just did there. But the guys will never catch you, I don't think. This mech will appear, but we can thankfully avoid it. And then if we head down this way... We'll then pass by here and we'll spot him.
Gotcha.
There, which then allows us to follow him up here to a dead end.
I've got what I need. Now you need to get out of here.
Oh, spare me. Are you finished playing at Assassin yet, Your Highness?
You're sharper than I thought.
Sharp enough to know you'd come for the Keycard. And now my men are coming for you. Any last words? Get him!
Shit. I'm trapped. Feathers.
So obviously we then see the eagle feathers, which are like the sort of the call sign of the assassins in the Assassin's Creed games. Like all of the like the places you can do a leap of faith from are lit up with or sort of have eagle feathers on there. So now we see these missiles being rained down upon the Stalin, and we've got to make our swift exit from here. It's a pretty easy path. Turns out we can't actually interact with those flags now, unfortunately. But essentially, this allows you to sort of see where a few of those flags are going to be. Then we can cross over here, climb up here.
Give it a rest.
Walk to here. Make sure you don't jump there. If you jump, you will fall down.
Have the big guns for little old me.
We can then walk to here, which allows us to walk to there. Essentially, if you ever touch the floor in this section, you get pushed back to a checkpoint, so you just need to follow it through. And then we drop down to meet up with the guys.
This is it. You ready?
You bet. Let's mosey.
And which of us will be providing backup?
And I think we'll let Prompto provide backup, because he's the most likely to die in the next sequence again.
Then I, Prompto Argentum, solemnly swear to protect Lady Cindy with my life.
Well, keep an eye out for me, will you?
I think the Cindy's line is the same regardless, but obviously Prompto has his own little interaction because,
Your Highness.
of course, more Assassin's Creed references, and now essentially we just need to... You just want to survive this first section. Obviously he's in a hot... he's in a mech, but as you can see, because we're still limited in our... Without the power of kings, we do very small amounts of damage still.
Have a little faith.
Oh, they're talking about Prompto. So I guess they have actually individual little comments depending on which group, depending on who you send with Prompto. But as you can see, we can now do way more damage. After they break the jamming device, and we can very easily I think there's a few more little lines of dialogue. I think maybe we killed him slightly fast for that, but there we go. That is Loki down. That is the main storyline quest of this DLC done. And now we'll just have the ending scenes, and then we'll have our second episode, or our second video.
Thanks, boys. You really saved the day.
Least we could do after getting you involved in all this. You're the real hero. We couldn't have done it without you.
Shucks, it was nothing. I'm just glad Holly made it back right as rain.
Word on the street is the assassins are the ones who sent the Empire packing.
That word should save us a world of hassle.
I can see the headlines. The assassins are out there. Man, at this point, even I want to believe.
Why believe anything if nothing is real? And why not chase every desire you have if everything is allowed? As we say in the Brotherhood, nothing is true. Everything is permitted.
We? I think all that cosplay's gone to your head.
Maybe so. But my time as an assassin taught me to take pride in doing good deeds, even if they go unseen.
So there we have it. That is the Assassin's Festival sort of storyline quest done. It's pretty minor. There's no major, like, things that you need to worry about, which I suppose is actually a good idea. You know, the more big things, I guess, inside these tiny DLC, the more fractured the story becomes. So maybe having the sort of slightly more soupçon approach is better. But nonetheless, you know, the mechanics are relatively... They are still pretty clunky, like even the traversal's quite clunky. You sort of need to make sure you've obviously got these rigid paths that you can climb. You can't climb everywhere, you can only warp to certain buildings, etc. But I think it's fun. It is definitely fun, and a lot of the mini games we'll see. There's one particular sort of mini game which is actually very satisfying, quite a nice quest to go on, and that sort of, I think it's definitely, you know, it's obviously worth the price of admission, mainly because it's free. And obviously people could argue, well, surely you'd want their or Square Enix's capacities to be put into something else, but it's nicely, it's compact, it works really well actually. And sure, the mechanics aren't quite polished and everything isn't quite perfect, and there's quite a few glitches here and there. But there it is. In the next episode, like I said, we're going to show off all of the mini-games. We'll go through all the mini-games, we'll go through the secondary quest, and I'll show you where you can get every single sort of unique item that you can only get in this DLC, and then those items are then sort of transferred across to your main game. So we've saved the Assassin's Festivals. We now actually keep the Medjay Assassin's Robes, and these essentially allow you to obviously wear those robes whenever you like, and also allows you to keep them in... oh, look at that photo, beautiful photo. No idea what that was meant to be. But, you know, will allow you to sort of keep them throughout your, or be able to use them throughout your stay. So there you go, the Chocobo Racetrack is now open, the Assassin's Treasure Hunt has begun, that is everything. And yeah, we now have Party Like an Assassin is our main quest, but there are a few more sort of minor side quests that we'll talk about on the next episode. So I hope you have enjoyed this episode, and hope you will join me on the next.